before we start, if you're watching on YouTube, it would mean so much if you could just drop a like for us. But here we go. Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech, likely a 4th-round pick. The thing that stood out about Khalil Herbert, he's not necessarily the quickest. He's not necessarily the strongest, but he does have a really good IQ. It was really, really fun to watch him allow holes to open up for him. And I think while he's not the most gifted athlete, the IQ was the reason that he was able to be so successful in college, specifically his last year at Virginia Tech after he transferred from Kansas. But you get to see in his tape a lot of waiting behind the line. Who did that in the NFL really well? Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. Jay Ajayi is another pro comp. I'm not saying he is Le'Veon Bell because he's not got that ability, that pass catching ability. But there's something special about a player who can wait for the hole to happen instead of just run through without any sort of vision. That's what I think I noticed the most about him.
Yeah, look, Khalil Herbert's someone that is definitely interesting. Keep him on your radar. Understand where he's going to go. Like we said, these are the guys you need to know. There are teams that are out there that could potentially use him year one. You know, a great example, he could be playing like a Josh Kelly role. Are we excited about Josh Kelly? Were we excited about Joshua Kelly? No, we weren't. But the role that he played was pretty significant. Obviously, they got...
Wait.
Let me finish.
Weren't?
The role that he played was significant until...
Wait a minute. No,
until they got Kalen Ballage, and then then Kalen Ballage stepped up. So he could... And I guess to sum it up, he could be playing a Kalen Ballage role. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. How about that? Take me outside. How about that? No, I get what you're saying. I think... The reality is, though, we saw talent in Josh Kelly. He just didn't execute in an offense. And I think we will see, let's say he lands with the Cardinals, Bengals, Broncos. Like, he could play like a complementary back type role with Chase Edmonds in Arizona. Let's say Chase Edmonds go down. Let's say he goes to the Bengals and Joe Mixon gets injured again. Yeah. Or he goes to Denver and Melvin Gordon gets another DUI, for example, right? Oh, no. But he will potentially have a chance. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm a Melvin fan. Melvin. So there's a chance that he could step into a Joshua Kelly role and see if he is that guy. Joshua Kelly had the chance to show he was the guy. He just didn't show it. Yeah. So there's a chance.
Look, I think those are good. I love those two plays. Or just 2 landing spots. Keep an eye out on Kalen. I was going to say Kalen.
The Jay Ajayi comp is pretty accurate if you watch his tape.
Yeah.
Jay Ajayi. Yeah. I like that. Comp.
I definitely like that.
Who's the next guy?
Jemar Jefferson out of Oregon State. Okay. He is somebody that I like a lot. Probably a lot more than Herbert, in my opinion. He's likely going to, obviously, all these guys are late rounders. Keep an eye out. But I think he has some of the best vision in the class, okay? He's not an amazing athlete. He's not somebody that is going to blow you away. But his football IQ, his vision, the way he waits and reads the blocks and the holes, I think it's really great, okay? And let me tell you one stat. He only had 1 career drop on 44 catchable passes, which is crazy, okay? That means the man can catch the ball. And he could be a PPR monster in the future, depending on the landing spot, on his landing spot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if he did have the athleticism that a Najee, a Javonte, a Travis Etienne, that's what's separating these guys is because of their athleticism. He just doesn't have that athleticism, and that's not something that you can improve necessarily. So. Right. You're right. Obviously, these are all late rounds, but we're talking about them in a certain context. Who's some pro comparisons for this guy? I know there's one in particular you like.
Yeah, the guy that when I saw him play, the guy that stuck out to me at first was Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard, obviously, he came in physique. He had a couple great games at the end of the season last year. And he was amazing to pick up. He was somebody that can come in and be like, whoa, Tony's bowling right now. That's what was happening. And
Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
Jemar Jefferson could be that guy.
Yeah, he could be.
And imagine if Jemar Jefferson blows up, then we have a Justin Jefferson and a Jemar Jefferson.
Oh God. See, that's what I was saying. Don't blow up Jemar Jefferson. Don't make it more confusing for us to figure out what player we're actually talking about. Justin Jefferson, Jemar Jefferson. Imagine he gets drafted to the Vikings. That's not going to happen. But all right, well, here's some teams that could make sense. The 49ers could make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why this would make sense, while he's not the most athletic player, with his high IQ, he could land in that offense, and I promise you, Mike Shanahan's going to be able to utilize him really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Mostert's not getting any younger. Get the guy for your future, maybe a potential late-round steal. There's always late-round steals in every draft, so Jemar Jefferson could be that guy if he lands in the right offense like the 49ers.
Yeah.
The Falcons could make sense. He could split time with Mike Davis.
Yeah.
The Falcons are going to draft a running back for sure. They will probably draft one of these guys, if not the top 3 ones.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to keep an eye out on. And remember, he only dropped 1 catch in his whole career. That means he's a pass catching, or maybe it doesn't mean he's a pass catching back, but he has the ability.
With the volume
exactly
and the production.
Exactly.
Yes,
he has the ability to be some sort of pass catching or PPR running back. So he could be that third down guy, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that I'm really, really, really excited about and that you should know, and you probably heard me speak about him before, is Chuba Hubbard, Oklahoma State.
Chuba.
Running back. The Chuba train, maybe.
Chuba train. He's going to open up if he goes off in the NFL, he absolutely needs to open up a bunch of franchises. It could be a sushi train. Could be whatever sort of food he likes. Chuba train. Come to the Chuba train. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 for $1 on Wednesdays. Chuba train all day. Okay, so tell us about him.
Look, I love Chuba Herbert. If you haven't watched his tape, this is the most exciting guy that you can watch. He had great explosive plays. He has great vision, amazing speed. Once again, he's just exciting to watch. The only downfall about Chuba Hubbard is that he had some fumble problems in the past 2 years. He fumbled 7 times in the past 2 years. And obviously that's a problem, but as you go into the NFL, hopefully they teach you some tricks and tricks and tricks. What's the word? Tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. Yeah.
Silly rabbit.
Tricks are for kids. Silly rabbit. Yeah. So for me, I'm not as excited about Chuba as you are. I think it's because the next guy we're going to talk about. But I do rank Chuba over. Is it Chuba or Chuba? I mean, we'll figure it out.
I've heard people say Chuba,
I think it's
and I heard people say Chuba. So
let me ask you: how does one end up naming someone Chuba? Is it because maybe his mother in high school played the tuba and she fell in love with that instrument, and she thought maybe tuba's too intense, so let's add a ch on there. You know,
maybe
that's
he was
my
a
guy,
chubby baby.
Chuba. Anyway, we're investigating the wrong parts of his life. So some teams that could make sense, the Jets and the Broncos. I will say, out of Jemar Jefferson and Chuba Hubbard and Khalil, the guys we have looked at so far from the running back position, Chuba is my highest we've talked about so far.
Correct.
Not the next, 'cause the next guy is my highest in this list, but he is the guy I have the highest. The Jets or the Broncos could make sense. The Jets just need a guy who could be a playmaker. I feel like Chuba stepping in, they're going to have Zach Wilson. They're probably going to take a wide receiver with their second first-round pick. Maybe Chuba is a guy they get in the 4th round, and he's a really nice piece to their future.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, bro, the Jets have so many picks, and it's possible. Look, it's possible, and I think no matter where he goes, let me rephrase that. I think obviously it does depend on where he goes, but I'm excited, and I hope that there's a lot of teams that are going to utilize him unless he goes to a team that already has their franchise running back, like Dallas, New York, Carolina. Like all of those will be pointless if he does go there, and then we'll be questioning his career. But really, like you said,
know what? Something that just came to mind is I don't know why I feel like he could kind of have a career similar to Tevin Coleman. And that's not necessarily sexy, but it's a successful career. And the reason I see that is because I don't think he steps in as a day one starter.
Yeah.
But I think he shows over time that he can be a very, very valuable asset in an offense. So that could potentially be something that works out. Okay, the next guy is the guy I have highest out of all the running backs we're talking about today, and that is Michael Carter out of North Carolina. He was teammates with the one and only Javonte Williams, the guy Badaki and I are probably the most excited about.
Correct.
In this draft
Absolutely.
coming up. Are we on the same page there?
Yes.
Okay. So he was teammates with Javonte Williams, and both of these guys just absolutely tore up every single defense that they saw in every game last year. He's likely a 3rd-round pick, and here's the reason. He's a smaller back. If Michael Carter was a bigger back, if he was a 6'1" type running back, he would probably go in the first, early 2nd round.
Okay.
That's how I see him.
Okay.
But unfortunately, because he has been hit with the quote unquote undersized tag, his draft stock has dropped a little bit. He reminds me a lot of an Austin Eckler. He's a very, very explosive running back. He's a dynamic back. You can put him all over the field. He's got great cuts, explosive runs. Don't let the size fool you. This guy plays way, way above his weight. He also reminds me of late great. I don't know why I'm saying that. I feel like you say that when people die, but I'm pretty sure.
we are mourning the late
great. I know. Brian Westbrook is still alive, but he reminds me of both of those, Brian Westbrook and Austin Eckler. Mm-hmm. Now, again, are we saying that they're going to be these players? No, but that is the tape reminds you of those kind of players. Mm-hmm. Look at his stats, guys. I want to remind you, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter both split time 50-50. And if you look at their stats, it's better than a lot of these guys who had the full workload on their own. They absolutely balled out. These are 2 prime running backs. And while Javonte is obviously the best running back from that backfield, don't underlook Michael Carter. He can absolutely come in and play a 3rd down role. And I think he could work his way into a feature back in an offense. Personally, I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, look, I'm there with you. I love Michael Carter. I think that he is somebody, like, you're right. He can come in and flourish. He's 5'8". He does remind you of the Austin Eckler, Brian Westbrook type guys. He's a smaller guy, agile. So I agree. I think I have Chuba up a little bit higher. So if I had to put it in order, Chuba,
let's do it.
Michael Carter, Jemar, and then Herbert for me.
So for me, it would be Michael Carter, and there's a significant gap between the next, and that's just because I don't see what you see in Chuba, but that's okay. It's good that we see things differently. Michael Carter, then Chuba, then Jemar, and then Khalil. I think we can both agree that Khalil is probably our last back.
Yeah,
from this list.
I agree.
Some teams that make sense for Michael Carter, there's a lot of teams. Like we said, the Broncos, Jets, and Cardinals are always going to be in there. But I think the Texans could make sense. Mm-hmm. David Johnson's not getting any younger, and I'm not sure that – I feel like this is the year the wheels fall off for this team entirely. Get a guy that you can at least be excited about in the future, right? Mm-hmm. Tyrod's going to be in the backfield throwing to absolutely no one. Get him a weapon like Michael Carter here. It's not sexy, but it could be something that could be fun.
Exactly,
to see in the future.
It's something that can be like, oh, Michael Carter went to Texans. Okay, let me maybe take a fly on him in one of these late rounds.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the best of fantasy football. We got some more videos as well if you're feeling like it. And lastly, don't forget that you can support us and unlock exclusive content by signing up to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasylandfam.